What's up, y'all? Out here at the range today doing some testing, and as you can see by the title, we're bringing out the big boys on this one, or I guess I should say the mini big boys. What we're doing today is a mini slug, 12 gauge mini slug showdown. So let me show you what we're working with. Obviously we got our chrono. Now we're going to try to do some chronoing on this. I'm going to do it really close up so the wad don't hit, but I don't know if that's going to interfere with it because of the blast. If y'all watch the channel Flater Mouse, he always does shot shell testing, and I've noticed he does his very close up on the chrono right there on the table where they're firing from. So we're gonna give it a shot and see how it works out. But anyway, got the chrono, got 2 fresh blocks of gel here. I'm sure this is gonna be the only test of the day in these blocks for sure, because we got 4 shot shells I'm gonna try to put in it, so that's gonna take right much room up. But what we're working with here today, we got 3 different kinds of mini shells, mini slugs, 12 gauge. We got the Federal Shorty shot shell rifle slugs. Now these are 1200 feet per second, and 1 ounce slugs. You can see what they look like, see the size of the brass. Then we got these Challengers. Now these are 1200 feet per second also, but these are actually a 3/4 ounce slug. I'm sorry, all these are 1 3/4 inch, by the way, the mini slugs. But this one, the info I've got on this is 3/4 of an ounce. If that's wrong and I find out differently, I'll put a note here in the video, but this should be 3/4 of an ounce, 1200 feet per second. You can see the size of the brass on that one. And then we got the Aguila mini shells. Now these are 1250 feet per second claimed on the box, and these are 7/8 of an ounce. So got a little bit of different look on the end of the slug there too, and you can see the brass, much higher brass than the other two. So that's the 3 minis we're gonna be running. And I figured what I'd do is throw in a control here, a normal size 2 3/4 inch slug. This is 1 1/8 ounce. A wolf, just a good old wolf. Now this is supposed to be 1400 feet per second, so right much faster than those minis, of course, but figured it'd be a good comparison against what the minis do versus a regular. And of course the tool we're using today is the good old 18.5 inch Maverick 88. This should be an interesting test. This is the first shotgun I've used besides just 410 in the gel, so interesting to see what this does. So let me get y'all set up and let's get started. All right, y'all, let's see if we can get these speeds to work out testing these shot shells. I'm not feeling real confident about it, I'll be honest with you, but we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna start out with the Federals, the 1 ounce Federals. It's supposed to be moving 1200 feet per second. Now, I'm sure they tested that velocity out of a way longer barrel, so I don't expect that out of this 18.5 inch, but we'll see what we get. If I can get it to work properly, I'm gonna do 2 shots on each one. So let's see what we can do, y'all. Here we go. $11.62. And 1,080, so we definitely got that to work. Let's go check and see what that average is. All right, so a 2-round average on the Federals was 1,121 feet per second, so not far off from what the box claims. So let me reset it. We'll go to those Challengers next. All right, next up is the Challengers. These are the 3/4 of an ounce slugs, and same velocity, 1200 on the box. So hopefully we can get 2 of these to run through there too. So let's see what we can get, y'all. $11.77 and $11.51. So let's check the average on those. All right, so the 2-round average on the Challengers was 1,164 feet per second. I'll put them all up on the screen here since there's so many of them. I won't go back and forth, but 1164 on the Challengers. So let's move along to the Aguilas. All right, so far so good. It's working out a lot better than I expected with this chrono on these shot shells. So let's check out the Aguilas and see what they rolling. Hopefully we can get 2 on these also. Now these are supposed to be 1250 according to the box, so I expect a little bit faster on this one. Let's see what we get, y'all. $11.68 and $11.80. So let's check out that average. All right, so 2-round average on the Aguilas was 1,174, and right off the top of my head, I think that's a little faster, but like I say, I'll list these on the screen since we got so many of them. So that was the last of the minis. Now let's go on a run of one of those full-size wolves through here just to get a control. All right, here we go with the wolves, y'all. These are the 2 3/4 inch, so the full size 1 1/8 ounce. So these are supposed to be 1400 feet per second, so I expect right much more out of these. So here we go, y'all. $12.21 and 1197. So let's check the average on that. All right, so the 2-round average on the Wolf 2 3/4 inch slugs was 1210 feet per second. So that's definitely faster than what these minis are, but not a whole lot from what I can remember off the top of my head. But like I say, I'll put all the averages over here on the side of the screen so we can check them out. But let me get all this stuff out of the way and get set back up, and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all. It's mini slug jelly time. We're going to start out in the same order we chronoed them. So I'm going to do the Federals, the Challengers, the Aguilas, and then the Wolf full size. So I got a sheet down there. I'm not sure what these things are going to do, if it's going to rock the block off. I don't think it will, but just in case, to keep from getting too dirty while we finish this test. So here we go, y'all. All right, looked like a good hit, about where I wanted to put it. Let's go down there and see what happened. All right, that one did great. So let's go with the Challenger now and see what these do. These are supposed to be a little bit lighter of a projectile, but we'll see what happens, y'all. All right, here we go. All right, I think that was a good one there too. Let's go down there and check that out. All right, y'all, that one right there behaved vastly different from that Federal. This has turned out to be an interesting test. I mean, I don't know if that was supposed to behave like that, but it completely came apart within the first few inches. We'll check it out here in a second, but that was a way different type of round than that Federal was. Way different. But let's see what we do. I was going to flip that around and come from the other side, but I think I can put these underneath those other ones, but we'll see what happens down here. So let's go with the Aguila here. Now this one's supposed to be just a tad faster, so we'll see if that makes any difference down there. Here we go, y'all. All right, I put it right up under the Federal. Let's go down there and see what happened. All right, y'all, so far so good. I don't want to jinx myself, but this has gone way better than I expected it to go, to be honest with you. We barely caught that Aguila. I mean, we barely caught it. Y'all see here in just a second, but one round left, and that's the full size, the 2 3/4 Wolf. Now this one's moving faster and it's supposed to be heavier, so I'm expecting this to go out the back side, which is why I've got a towel and a block on the other side of that. So let's see what happens, y'all. Here we go. I'm not sure where I put that. I think I put that between the Challenger and those other two, but let me go down there and see what happened. All right, y'all, believe it or not, that was another good shot. It went absolutely to plan on this. Now, that Wolf did go right in between them other ones, but it made its own independent entrance, wound channel, and everything. So that's definitely a valid shot. We'll take a look at it here in a second. But believe it or not, I'm going to voluntarily take another shot, and I'm going to take another shot of these Challengers because that's just very odd the way that performed. Now, it may be made and engineered to do that, and I just don't realize that. But I want to take another shot of that Challenger just to see if that was a fluke or something. So let's see what we get, y'all. See if we can replicate that. Here we go. I've got the block flipped around. And by the way, if I didn't mention, I'm exactly at 6 yards back here. So this is 6 yards. I'm a little bit further than what I normally do my other jelly test. So here we go with the Challenger second shot. All right, good clean hit on that. Let's see if it behaved the same way this time. All right, y'all, that Challenger behaved very similar that time, but it did go a lot further than that first one did. But that being said, that one actually hit where that first Federal came in from the other side. So that probably affected it. Well, it definitely affected it somehow. I don't know how much. So I'm actually going to take a third shot at that Challenger. I'm just very curious if these Challengers are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So let's see what we get on this third shot on the Challenger. Here we go. All right, that was definitely a good shot. That might have came out the side though. Let's go down there and see what happened to that. All right, y'all, we got a lot of stuff to take a look at here. That last shot I took on the Challengers, that's down here. We'll look at, I'll pick y'all up and give y'all plenty of different angles. But that did confirm that apparently that's just the way those Challengers work. It just got very little penetration and completely fragmented in there. So unfortunately, a side effect of taking that last shot with the Challenger is we lost our doggone Aguila slug. The Aguila mini-slug that we took, it had stopped right here with the wad and the slug just barely sticking into the gel, was poking out of the gel, and the force from that last Challenger popped it out and sent it flying over here into a big old gigantic pile of daggone leaves. I ended up finding the wad, but I can't find the daggone projectile for nothing, which not a huge deal because I can just tell you I saw it. Like I say, it was sticking half out of the gel and it looked pretty much like the Federal, so we'll take a look at them here in a second. But anyway, let's go over some of this stuff. This top, all of these wound channels, first off, extremely nice wound channels. Every wound channel, the Federal, the Mini Aguila, and the full-size Wolf, all three of these wound channels are very close to each other. I'll give y'all a closer look here in a second, but they look almost identical. Absolutely devastating wound channels, obviously, on all of them. The Federal's on the top. The Aguila Mini is on the bottom. That's the one, like I say, went here, and boom. The Aguila Mini actually traveled the furthest out of all of them, including the full-size Wolf. Well, it's pretty much a tie with the full-size Wolf, as I'll show y'all here in a second, but the Aguila Mini definitely went further than the Federal. The Federal, again, it was on the top, it went here, crossed into the second block and curved a little bit, and it's sitting there on the backside. I'll show y'all that here in a second. The full-size Wolf is in the middle of these, and again, I'll give you some different angles, but it's its own wound channel. Like I say, it's not inside these other ones, so I'll show y'all here, but it basically the same type of wound channel, same size as the Federal and the Aguila Minis, and the Wolf stopped out here. You can see it there, the wad and the projectiles both out here. It went basically a tie with the Aguila Mini as far as penetration. It didn't quite make it out. Now that Challenger, as y'all saw, I'm sure in y'all's camera view, it's on the other side, but I'll show you, it only went out to right here. I mean, very short, and it busted all to pieces. That was the first shot. The second shot we took made it out from this end to here, and it hit that Federal, but it stayed intact on this one. And the third shot is here, only made it out to here and busted all the pieces again. So let me give y'all some measurements, and then I'll switch you up on some different angles. So the first shot we took was the Federal Mini, and it's on kind of a little bit of an angle, but we'll go straight line. So went in, and then second block here started to curve over a little bit, but it stopped at exactly 23.5 inches. So the Federal Mini stopped at 23.5 inches. Now it's knocked back a little bit now, and I'll show y'all that here in a second, but I can still see the wound capsule where it stopped. So 23.5 inches on the Federal Mini. The Aguila Mini, like I said, it went all the way out to here, and it just about went, it just about went the distance, and it stopped and just barely stayed in. It and the wad was still in here. The projectile was still in here until I took that last Challenger shot. But anyway, the penetration on the Aguila Mini is 30.5 inches. So 30.5 inches of penetration out of that Aguila Mini. Go ahead and get the full-size Wolf. The full-size Wolf, like I say, it's down in the middle there, and I'll show y'all here in just a second. But the full-size Wolf went there, crossed through, and it stopped at 29, about 29.5, so just a little bit short of the Aguila Mini. Now these Challengers, the first one that made me take this set to other shots, this is why. It's only got right at 6 inches of penetration total. 6 inches, nothing went any further than 6 inches of penetration. The wad is sitting in here at about 2.5, and the projectile is all busted up right here around the wad and a little bit further. I mean, it's busted all to pieces. So again, that's why it made me take the second shot on it. Now the second one, again, it actually went in right here. The wound channel looked like it stopped at about 6 again, but the projectile kept carrying, and it hit this Federal Mini right there at about 9 inches. So, you know, that's why I took the other shot, because the projectile actually is, once it hit that Federal Mini, it's out here at like 11.5. So I didn't think that, well, I know for sure that wasn't a valid test just because it hit that Federal and had some interference. So I took the third shot on that Challenger, and again, very small penetration, 8.5. It went out to 8.5 and then rebounded back here to about 6. So it looks like 6 is where it all busts up on all of these, is where it stops making wound and starts busting up and getting crazy. So it's very interesting. That's very, very different behavior than all the rest of these slugs. All right, so looking at it from above, again, this first one that you're seeing on the very top, that's the Federal. And if you follow it here, this is the one that crosses over, and that's it right there. But it stopped right here where this capsule is. This capsule where this wad is sitting from the Challenger, that's where the Federal was sitting at. And that last shot on the Challenger came in right here, and then, like I say, it hit that Federal Mini projectile, and the wad stopped, and it bounced the Challenger projectile over here. Now, you see on this Challenger projectile, it's a great big old wafer. It didn't bust up. I mean, really nice wound channel, but the penetration is very, very short on those Challengers. Very short penetration on those. The Federal projectile, you can see it. Really nice expansion on that. Stayed intact. You can see it there. I'll pull them so we can get better looks. But like I say, that's the third Challenger. And while we're over here, we'll take a look at this Challenger as well. This was the first one that made me take the reshot, because you can see it barely went anywhere as far as penetration. And if you look from the side here, you got the wad, and you can see the projectile. I mean, it's in tons of pieces. It just busted all the pieces, that projectile did. Now, while we're at this same angle here, that bottom wound channel that you're seeing down there is the Aguila. You see it dip down, the wound channel's still there, and it goes out the back side. I'll take y'all to the other side and show y'all that a little better. But right up above that, right here, is the full-size Wolf. Basically the same exact size wound channel. You can see it up above there, and that's it. That stopped right there with the wad and the projectile. And if you see it from this angle, like I say, it's the one that you're going to see in the middle, basically. So it's that middle wound going here, and it's the one that doesn't angle down. So there's the wad, there's the projectile, and you can see where it stopped and then rebounded a little bit. So the last thing I'll show you, like I say, that very bottom, that's the Aguila Mini. Very nice wound channel, just like all the other ones. You can see it starts curving down, goes into the second block, and boom, stopped right there. Like I say, both the wad and the projectile was still in there. Here's the wad, I'll show you that here in a second, but it was just poking out the side there. But this Challenger, this third shot on the Challenger, that the pressure of that just busted it out the side. Now, as you can see, the third shot of the Challenger, the last one I took, behaved basically just like the first one. Went in, very little penetration. The wad followed it in, and the projectile busted all two pieces in there. You can see it's just busted all the pieces. So let me pull these projectiles, and we'll take a look at what we're working with. All right, y'all, let's take a look at what we got here with these projectiles. Some pretty interesting stuff. Let's start over here at the left. This is the Federal Mini. That's the first one shot we took. Now, these dents on the top and the side, that's from the impact made on that Challenger, without a doubt. That's not natural deformation. So, as you can see, naturally, it kind of stayed roundish, stayed about intact. But this is the Federal. Like I say, it's actually got a little plastic ball in the cavity on the bottom of the projectile, and here's the wad on it. So just a flat wad with that ball in the bottom there. So pretty nice one there. So I actually found this Aguila projectile, the Aguila slug, after I was getting ready to wrap things up, cleaning stuff up, and I actually just happened to go over there and look again and dug a little bit and found it. So I'm sticking this in. The editing might be weird on this, but here's the Aguila slug. Like I say, it looked pretty much like the Federal as far as the expansion or deformation. Really none to it. It's hollow, a little bit hollow in the bottom, and instead of the ball, it fits on the wad like that. So now this right here is the full-size Wolf. So as you can see there, got a bunch of rifling on it, big time, way more rifling than the others. This Federal had some, but not nearly as aggressive as this Wolf. So that's the Wolf, 2 3/4. There's the wad off of that. It fit on there like that. So that's what you got from the full-size Wolf. Now these Challengers here, these things are crazy looking. This was the first one. Like I say, here's the wad there, just like a red wad with a little thing in the middle, and I'm assuming that's what this little hole rests in. But you can see the projectile, it's weird, like little rings. It's almost like little rings. It completely flattened out into this just big, huge ring. And there's all the pieces of it. But I mean, if you measure the, from side to side on this ring, I mean, good gracious, you're looking at inch and 1.42 inches. I mean, that's insane. This thing, the expansion on these Challengers are absolutely crazy, just totally crazy. The problem with these Challengers that I have is just the penetration was just terrible. Just really, really short penetration. And that's in bare gel, and that was only at 6 yards. So I don't know, y'all tell me what you think about that. But anyway, here's the second Challenger. This is the one that actually hit that Federal and caused the damage on that Federal round that we just saw. There's the wad on it again, and it stayed in one piece, as you can see. So I mean, that's just a huge, big old wafer of lead right there. That's just crazy expansion. But again, the penetration on it is just, I just don't know. And here's the third one. It looked almost just like the first one. There's the wad, and then there's the pieces. Same kind of deal. Same big old ring that came apart like that. So that's pretty crazy. That's a pretty crazy looking little slug. Now, granted, I haven't done any other gel tests on slugs, but that's the first one I've seen that did something like that. So pretty interesting. But again, all of these rounds had incredible wound channels on them, just penetration, massive penetration, probably too much penetration for an inside home defense situation, other than this Challenger. And the Challenger, like I said, the problem I have with it is that enough penetration, even for an inside home defense situation? I mean, I guess it is, but that's a massive daggone expansion, that's for sure. I mean, there's no doubt, like we've always said before, there's no doubt any of these rounds would absolutely take care of business when it came to home defense or whatever you're trying to do. But I just don't know. What do y'all think about the penetration on that? I know some people have a set amount of penetration, and if it doesn't get that, they don't want no part of it. And this fell well short of what most people's idea of a good amount is. So y'all let me know down in the comments what y'all think about these, but I thought this was a very interesting test with some very different results out of these rounds. All right, y'all, got our first 12 gauge jelly test in the books, the Mini-Slug Showdown. This went way better than I thought it would. I mean, I expected slugs to be going out the bottom, out the top, out the sides, and every which way, but they all behaved and gave us some pretty good results on this. They all had really nice wound channels. All of them except the Challenger had just incredibly crazy penetration on them, probably more than most people would want for especially an inside home defense situation. Now the Challenger, like I say, totally different. Very little penetration on it, but just massive expansion out of that thing. And I'm sure it dumped a bunch of energy. Once I go back and edit and see these slow-mos, I'm sure I'll be able to tell just how much energy it dumped. But is that force enough to make up for the lack of penetration? What do y'all think about that? Like I said, I know some people want a minimum of penetration, and this definitely wasn't it. So what do y'all think about these rounds? If you were using them for home defense, what do you think about that situation? I guess the minis could be like a hunting round for people who want a little bit less recoil out of a slug. But y'all let me know y'all's thoughts down in the comments. I'm very curious to hear what y'all have to say about these. If y'all enjoyed the video, as always, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you reach down and subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you can be notified when I upload these new videos and you can check them out. Want to give a shout out and a thanks to Nick. His YouTube channel is Nick Shows Stuff. He's the one that sent these mini slugs for me to test out. So Nick, I really appreciate that, brother. I know you sent them about, it's been probably a month now and I've been backed up, but I finally got to them. So I really appreciate that. Check my Amazon storefront affiliate link down in the description. Like I always ask, if you shop through Amazon anyway, hit that link up first. Takes you right through Amazon from there like normal. It don't cost you anything extra at all. And anything you buy from Amazon after following that link first, we get a kickback from Amazon towards the channel, so I greatly appreciate that. Appreciate all my Range Gang members for reaching down and hitting that join button. That really helps the channel. I really thank y'all for that. Appreciate each and every single one of y'all, like I tell you on every video, who watches my videos, who thumbs up, subscribes to the channel, and leave me some comments down below. What do y'all think about the first 12 gauge jelly test out here? What do you think about these rounds, and is there a preference you have between these? Got plenty more stuff coming down the line, so make sure you stay on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see y'all soon.